What's going on, guys? The Barber Phil here, back again with another haircut tutorial. We are back from quarantine. I do apologize for my time away. I'm going to try to do a better job of getting haircuts stored away for events like that where I'm away for a period of time. But let's get right into this one. Alright guys, so we're going to jump right into this. I'm going to grab my pick. We're going to start picking the hair out, mainly just the bottom area and then the perimeter, because what he's going to do, he's going to go home, his girl's going to braid his hair up top. So this haircut is more of a preparation for that. We're not going to take anything off the top. We're just going to take the sides down pretty low. He wants a high taper. I did ask, he wants to remove the C. So we're going to start that bald line right at the bottom of that vertical bar, take it over to the round of his ear. We'll fade it up from there. Now, if you'll pay attention, there's a few times that I do stop, and I'm actually talking to Cuts by Coast on my left. Obviously, I don't have braids, guys, so you know it's always good if you aren't 100% in something to make sure that you ask somebody that you know has more knowledge in that area. And I know that Coast has more people in his chair and than himself in general that have either had braids or that he cuts braids. So what I did here was I knew that we wanted to take it down short on the sides, but whenever I did this 1.5 down with the growth of the hair, I decided I feel like that's a little bit long, and whenever he braids to the top, that top connection there, right where I'm working at right now, I felt like this was going to be a little bit long still. So I consulted with Coast. He said, yeah, go with a closed one. So that's what I did. Here in a second, you'll see me pointing to the area that I'm working on here. Consult with Coast. He said, yeah, go with the one. Slapped the one on there, did it. We both agreed that that looked a lot better, and then we got into it and continued fading on from there. So if you guys can keep up with my clipper changes, this is actually the Cordless Magic Clip. I have the Filthy Mod bracket with the Andy's Master Blade, and I have the Cutting Blade Zero Gap. So this is a closed one guard, but it's probably cutting a tad bit shorter than that because I do have that lever all the way closed. But I know that that's going to be a good length, that whenever he braids the top, that connection there in the parietal ridge area, that's not going to be sticking out or anything like that. Plenty of hair to be able to see the fade and have a nice fade, but it's not so long that once he braids it, you know, that area is still going to be, you know, too long. So what we did there to start this fade, I took the cordless detailers, I tapped in that bald line from the round of his ear over to the bottom of his vertical bar. We flicked it out a little bit. Now what we're doing is we came in, we did the open section. That was my Cordless Senior with the Auster Fast Feed blade. I'm going to have a video coming up very soon, guys, on that clipper. Please stay tuned to check that one out. I think you guys will like it. That clipper is all the way open. So about as open as you can get a clipper, that's what that Fast Feed blade allows me to do. So I can get it to pretty much a one guard without even having a guard on there at all. And then this clipper here is the one that's closed, so I can go from basically removing a bald line to opening it up, and that open zero gap clipper there with the green case on there basically goes straight into this Senior with the Fast Feed blade when it's all the way closed. So I can go from removing a bald line to a one guard with just those two clippers and not even have to use a guard. I can get all those in between steps, and so it works for me. It may not work for everyone else, but it does work for me, and that's what we're going with. So we're going to use the FXs here. Just get the top of his ear kind of set up. I want to see where this line is going to disappear down to, and then we're going to go ahead and remove a little bit more bulk here in the back, and then we'll finish that line out around his ear. So one thing to keep in mind, guys, I took a zero guard down with the growth of the hair. Now what I'm doing is I have a 1.5 guard, and I'm actually going almost back up through that initial one guard down section. But if you know anything about, if you know much about hair, if you pay attention to it, if you've ever taken a guard with the growth of the hair, it does not cut nearly as long or as much off as if you go against the growth of the hair. So that one down and then the 1.5 up into it, they're pretty similar in length because you're going in different directions as far as the growth pattern is concerned. And so that was a good way to continue blending there, and then I could take that one guard close below that 1.5 and blend it all together from, you know, the detail or bald line up through the one that we went down with the growth initially. Now I did go ahead, and of course, you know, you learn from talking to, you know, Coast or one of the other barbers, or just in general from one side of the head to the other. I did not start off with that 1.5 like we originally did. We got right into the one guard. We're going down with the growth of the hair. We're leaving all that length up top so that he has plenty that she can braid, and we're just making sure that this is it's a nice sharp line through there. That's what I did. I took the combed all that hair up out of the way. Anything that was noticeably shorter, you know, you put that clip in there, clip all the length up top out of the way, take that shorter hair, kind of brush it down, make sure that that natural part around his head is continuous, and you know, you're not getting uneven and situations like that, and take all that down to the same length, and then from there you can fade up into it. So we did the one guard down with the growth of the hair. Now we're doing a little bit of the one guard back up against it, kind of opening the lever and playing with it. Because this is kind of a high taper, you know, you can go right into it pretty much right at the base of the ear. That's what we did. We did the detailer line. Now we're flicking out the all that bulk below it with the FXs. We're going to take that detailer, flick that line at the bottom just to go ahead and remove it some. This is that fast feed blade all the way open. You guys can see how smooth and how clean that clipper is making the section, and I'm slowly fading down, closing that lever a little bit here and there as we go down. Then we switched over to the zero gap clipper. We're going to start with it open. That's going to kind of pretty much immediately meet up with that fast feed blade closed, and then as you start to close this one, you can see it starting to remove that initial bald line that we set in. And that's why I like doing this system, guys. It doesn't work for everybody, but it does work for me. Slap that one guard on there, finish off that connection between what we initially did with the one guard, and then put in that bald line at the bottom, and then continue on. And you guys can see I am taking this clipper in every kind of different direction that I can on this side, because his hair does kind of swirl from where it had the curls from being long. Pay attention to that. Comb the hair down. Make sure that you're always taking that guard in the direction that you see, like against the direction that you see the hair growing, so that you know you're cutting that hair to the same length. The same steps on this, guys. We do the detailer from the bottom of the vertical bar in the front over to the top of his earlobe, or where the ear rounds down. Flick that line out. We did an open section, and then we slowly close that clipper. Now you take that clipper that is zero gap below it, and you flick out that bottom line. Put the one guard back on there. Start with it closed. Flick up through there, and then as you get up a little bit higher, you can slowly start to open that lever if you need to. If not, you know, then it can blend right in, and it's a pretty fast. This is actually a fairly fast haircut, especially if you do them on the regular. You just have to be very smart about, you know, how you part the hair, how high you take it. You want to make sure that you do leave enough in the front to get a nice vertical bar for that lineup, because this is one of those things where it's really short on the sides. He's going to have the braids up top, so that lineup is really going to stand out in the front, so you want to make sure you leave plenty of hair for that. We're going to make sure that we try to make this natural line down his neck as symmetrical with the other side as possible. And so fold the ear down, make sure that you match those up. Now we're going to take the clips again, pull all that length up top out of the way. Anything that falls out, we know that we can go ahead and cut. We're going to have that nice and tight. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the one guard closed, remove all this bulk, and then we can get right into that lineup. So we're going to use the face shield here just to protect his eyes, of course, and then spritz a little bit of hairspray on there. What I like to do from here is take the baby brush, really brush that hair down in place, lock it in. Sometimes you can take a blow dryer, put it on like a low setting heat and not a lot of airflow. You're really just kind of wanting to get the hairspray dry so that it doesn't gunk up your trimmers. And I do apologize, guys, it went from no lineup to absolute crispy right off the rip. I apologize. Somehow I promise you I pressed record and it did not record that few minutes there, but I went ahead, wanted to leave this part in here because we're using the Beam Team cordless compressor, the Tomb 45 no drip, Onyx black, and then the Sean Cuts hair color enhancement card. And as you guys could tell before I even did the enhancements, the lineup was pretty sharp as it is. These enhancements, guys, they're just a way to take your haircut to the next level. That's all they're there for. We're not trying to hide anything. We're not trying to have, it's not a gimmick. We're literally taking what was already a sharp haircut and a sharp lineup and just making it better. That's all it is, guys. I'm pretty sure that just about anything that you've done or you've bought, a car, if you're into guns or pistols, most people do things. You put a new sight on it, even though the original sight was perfectly fine. You put a new trigger on it, even though the trigger was fine. Cars, you buy a car and then you put new rims on them. Like, the car was fine. You didn't need new rims to drive it, but you put new rims on it to make it look better. It's the same thing here, guys. The haircut, the lineup was clean as it was, but you can always make it cleaner, and so that's what the enhancements were for. So make sure you check out the Sean Cuts hair color enhancement card, the Tomb 45 no drip, and then the Beam Team cordless compressor. You can pick up all those on tomb45.com, or you can pick up the Sean Cuts hair color enhancement card on seancutshair.com, and I know you guys won't regret any of those. So that wraps up this tutorial. I hope you guys took something away from this haircut. Hit me up in the comment section, let me know if you did. This was basically a preparation haircut for him to leave here, go get the sides or the top braided. So we took the sides down really low, high taper, no C, real sharp lineup in the front. I'm hoping to see him soon so that I can see how those braids turned out. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, guys, if you haven't already. Turn on that notification bell, that way you never miss another haircut from me. Sunday and Wednesday should be the schedule as always. Guys, you killed it with that request that I had to get me to 800 subscribers, so for that I am abundantly grateful, and we'll catch you in the next one.